Yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12th, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28th, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders just like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page and across the state of Michigan. Our first story comes from Emma Stein at the Detroit Free Press. The University of Michigan is set to add a new set of dorm rooms to its campus for the first time in 50 years. The Board of Regents yesterday voted unanimously to add new dorms and a dining hall to Ebel Field, currently used as an intramural sports field, as well as the practice field for the Michigan Marching Band. The new dorm will add housing for 2,300 students as well, and more details will be released in February following a several $100,000 agreement with a local firm to put plans together for this new facility. And a quote from a university official straight out of this article, quote, "We've fallen way behind the growing demand for undergraduates who want to live on campus beyond their freshman year," said Martino Harmon, vice president for student life, in a news release. This fall, more than 2,300 students were turned away from campus housing due to lack of capacity. And we know that the desire to live on campus, especially among undergrads, is significantly higher than the applications might suggest, end closed quote. So this new facility, no timetable exactly on when it will be up and running and available to students at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, but a new facility coming to the campus for the first time in half a century. In terms of where the Michigan Marching Band will go, the university did purchase a several acres lot of land in the nearby area just a couple of years ago, within the last few years, and that is where the marching band will move their practice facility to. Also making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com and all across the state of Michigan, from Luis Aguilar at the Detroit News, a Melvindale man freed from prison in Saudi Arabia returned to Metro Detroit on Thursday. Mohammed Salem has been held since November 1st for allegedly making disparaging comments about Saudi Arabia, and then held in a maximum security prison alongside such criminals such as terrorists. Salam and his family gave thanks to those this week who lobbied for his release, including U.S. Senator Gary Peters and Representative Rashida Tlaib, both from Michigan, even stating that they believe that this lobbying made it known to those that were both operating the prison as well as the Saudi Arabian government that he was an American citizen in prison and not just another person from the population in Saudi Arabia who had spoken out against their government and therefore been thrown in jail, but also helped to lead to his eventual release after being held since November 1st in this Saudi prison. Finally, making headlines today all across the state of Michigan, from Samuel Dodge at MLive. Michigan Medicine is expanding its territory after agreeing to an $800 million purchase of Sparrow Health System based out of Lansing on Thursday. The affiliation launched actually in October, according to documents, and led to now when Sparrow Health will become part of the U of M Health System brand and have access to all of its wings of care, education, and research. Quote, "The mission, vision, and values of the two organizations are aligned with a common goal to deliver on the promise of nationally renowned clinical excellence in an accessible setting," said University of Michigan President Santa Ono during a Thursday Board of Regents meeting. The deal is expected to be completed in the first half of 2023, according to a news release from Santa Ono. All of those headlines making news today on our website, CivicCenterTV.com, as well as all across the state of Michigan from a variety of outlets. Join us on our local news page Monday through Friday of each week to keep up with what's making headlines across the state, as well as updates on COVID-19 from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at the federal level, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services statewide, and locally where we originate our broadcast in Oakland County from the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Friday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll talk to the manager of a local shop as Vitrine's Ruth Gingell joins us. on the program. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
To the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes state, including My Michigan TV, and find all of our full programs and each individual interview on demand as well, and watch us on your time anytime. civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us now on the program is Ruth Gingell, the manager at Vitrine, with a shop located right here in southeastern Michigan in Berkeley. Ruth, thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Tyler. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. But I'm located in Plymouth, Michigan right now.
Oh, okay. So you're in Plymouth at the moment. We know that there is a shop also on Coolidge in Berkeley. So let's start off, Ruth, by telling us a little bit more about Vitrine. Tell us about yourself as well as the background of the organization you work with.
Vitrine is, I would say, a lifestyle store. We carry everything from fashion, jewelry, handbags. We have a lot of fair trade. We also carry a men's line in here. We like to shop for good, which means we like to give back to the community as much as we possibly can.
And so you mentioned, as part of your basic description of what makes Vitrine, you mentioned fair trade, but there is a very specific definition of what fair trade means. You can claim that, but there's only really certain ways that you fit that parameter. So tell us about that and define that for us.
Fair trade is organizations that provide fair pay, fair working conditions, that give back to the community as much as they can. We have we have Serve here, 10,000 villages. We also carry local fair trade, which would be Mend on the Move, which is a jewelry line out of Detroit, Michigan, where abused women make jewelry out of car parts, and we sell them all over. And it's a beautiful fashion line and one of our most popular jewelry lines at the time.
And so you're not only supporting this notion of fair trade and sourcing products that are, made under good working conditions and proper compensation and all of that, but also products that are going toward helping not just our local community economically, but others as well, as part of your participation in what is called Shop for Good. Tell us about Shop for Good and why that is such a critical part of defining what vitrine means and what your mission really is as you're selling your products?
Susan, the owner of the vitrine, loves to give back to her community. Whenever we have a special event, whether it be ladies' night or a big sale going on in the store, Susan always donates a portion of the sales back to the community. For example, this past ladies' night, we did a shop in the wild. Well, we decided to send a portion of the profits, to the Detroit Zoo. We like to keep things local as much as we possibly can. We love to support our community. We love to invite people to come out and also support the community by shopping small.
We're joined by Ruth Gingell on today's edition of the Megacast, the manager at Vitrine. More information can be found on Vitrine, including some of their products, where you can find them on social media by visiting shop@vitrine.com. That's shop@vitrine.com, or call them 248-629-7329, 248-629-7329 for more information. Continuing on with you, Ruth, it's the holiday season. It's a great time for people to go out and shop. And it's a great time also to remind people that it's really important to go out while you're doing your shopping. You may not be able to do this with everything that you're looking for, but as much as you can, to shop local. So what are some of the exciting things happening at Vitrine over this holiday season that people have a chance to participate in or even pick up as a specialty product?
Well, right now we're running a jewelry event that if you spend $30 or more, you get this beautiful sparkle bag that you can either keep for yourself or put your purchase in this and give it as a gift. We also have Harney and Sons tea, which is the best tea around. And if you snap a picture of yourself in our store and post it on your social media, there's a chance you can enter a contest and win free tea for life, or for a year, not life, for a year. We also have this beautiful jewelry line called Chris Nation that is 18 karat gold plated, which is fabulous. We've had a lot of luck with that. And we also have our fair trade Christmas ornaments on all our trees. We have a pet tree, we have a bird tree, we have a woodsy tree. And one of our best sellers here in the store is Venti 6. It's a line out of Italy that we carry, and it is absolutely fabulous. It's like wearing updated, dressy sweatpants. They're wrinkled, which is perfect for traveling. So if you're traveling, you don't have to worry about staying pristine while you're on your flight. You get out, travel, or get all wrinkled. That's the style of the pant. It's fabulous. We cannot keep them in stock. We have a huge order coming in. So ladies, it's time to get your Venti 6.
So you mentioned some of your favorite items in the store at this time, and even one of the more hotter items in the store that's starting to really fall off of the shelves right now. What are some of the other hotter items at your store that are starting to really get a lot of attention if people are wanting to get in there and make a purchase of some of these before they run out?
Well, we have a lot of Christmas host and hostess gift kitchen. We have a beautiful Valspa candles that just came in that not only are they beautiful to burn and set your whole house and smells amazing. You can also use the candles container afterwards in your bathroom or powder room with cotton balls, Q-tips. They're just beautiful. And we, again, are so popular. Everybody seems to be loving them.
And so as you're looking for these products, obviously you're looking for products that are made through fair trade tactics, but also, as we mentioned earlier, but what else is Vitrine looking for when they're bringing in these products and trying to attract some interest locally and from outside the local area to come in and shop at this small business owned right here in our local area?
Susan likes to shop very unique products, things that you're not going to see in any of the other stores in downtown Plymouth. We really try to set ourselves apart, but also providing good quality, great customer service. We wrap your gifts for you. It's just a lifestyle that we will hope to embellish in Plymouth with our presence being here. We love the community. We love being here and helping anybody out as much as we can.
More information can be found, as well as info on their products, at shop@vitrine.com, shop@vitrine.com, or call them 248-629-7329, with locations both in Berkeley and in Plymouth. Berkeley, the location is on Coolidge Highway. And then Ruth, where's the location in Plymouth if people would like to head out that way?
We are right on Main Street, 772 South Main Street. We're actually located right across the street from Goodyear Tire, maybe a quarter mile out of town, but don't let that deter you because we have our own parking and you can pull in, get your hostess gift, get your birthday gift, get your Christmas gift, and you're on your way. You no need to worry about parking when you come to Vitrine.
More information can be found on all their products as well as their locations by visiting shop@vitrine.com. We're joined by the manager of Vitrine in Plymouth, Ruth Gingell, on today's edition of the Megacast. Ruth, before we let you go, anything else that we haven't talked about Vitrine that we should know at this time or be considering about your products this holiday season?
We truly have something for everyone, whether it's children, we have a spa section, we have a men's section, we have a pet section. There's nothing really that you cannot find that we don't have here at Vitrine, and we are happy to serve you.
More information can be found at shop@vitrine.com. Ruth, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tyler. Have a great day. Merry Christmas.
Yes, you as well. Shop@vitrine.com or call them 248-629-7329. We'll take a break here on the Megacast. Coming up next, plenty happening in the economy while you're shopping for holiday gifts. We're also seeing a lot of things that are affecting the prices of those gifts as well as the gas that you're using to drive to those stores, or maybe affecting your bus tickets or other transportation methods as well. We'll talk with Michael Greiner from Oakland University about everything happening here in Michigan and domestically in the U.S. and around the world that's affecting our economy and your pocketbooks. Next, you're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information about all of our partnering stations across Oakland County, the state of Michigan, and online, and find all of our full episodes and each individual interview on demand as well at civiccentertv.com/megacast. Well, inflation this, inflation that, costs are up. Why is my gas costing so much? Why are all these products being so expensive this holiday season? It's all about the economy and everything happening both here in the U.S. and around the world that affects it each and every day. And here to join us once again to talk about what those factors are and how they're affecting the economy is Michael Greiner, assistant professor of management at Oakland University's School of Business Administration. Michael, thanks for being with us today.
Great to be back, Tyler. I'm actually traveling right now, but I wanted to make sure we didn't miss our weekly talk.
Yeah, good to have you with us. Thanks for coming on the show as you are traveling and out and about at the moment. Let's start off with where we're at in the economy, because it's kind of an interesting spot where the Federal Reserve, of course, has employed its strategy of incremental rising of the interest rates over the course of time to try to counteract inflation. With that, you would expect to see higher costs, which we have still seen for businesses, and maybe fewer jobs because they're trying to cut some of the costs from a labor standpoint. But as it currently stands, U.S. job growth is remaining strong. So A, why is that the case? And then B, how is that further affecting the effectiveness of the Federal Reserve's strategy?
Yeah, we're kind of in a crazy time right now where we're seeing all kinds of different data that you wouldn't expect. And frankly, most economists are pretty confused by the whole thing, including those at the Fed, frankly. We have seen over the past four peer meetings by the Fed rate increases of 0.75%. Which is really a historically fast rate increase that they've instilled on the economy. So that's had an impact, no doubt about it. It's made it more expensive for companies and particularly individuals looking to buy new homes to borrow. And in fact, we've seen where mortgage rates have gone up quite a bit higher than they've been in quite some time. And in some respects, that's good news because it means that's where we're going to start to see slowdowns in the economy. But by the same token, it's kind of one of those things where good news, bad news situation. On the one hand, yes, the economy is slowing. That means that hopefully we're going to start to see inflation slow down. On the other hand, the economy is slowing, so that means that there are some people losing. It's definitely a tough spot to be in. But this is where it's gotten really interesting. We have received some good news about potentially slowing increases in the cost of real estate. Now, part of the way that the consumer price index is calculated is that they look at not just the rents that renters are paying, tenants are paying for their homes, but where you own a home, they also calculate what's called a owner's effective rent. Essentially what the owner would be paying to rent their own home, because they say it's not quite fair to essentially give the owners the benefit of this asset without really showing the benefit that goes to the entire economy as a result of it. So what they do is that they calculate the rents that owners would be paying. And as it turns out of the consumer price index, almost 40% of the total consumer price index is made up of this rent paid both by tenants and by the owners of real estate. So when you see inflation going up, a good portion of that has to do with the fact that rents have been going up. Well, rents, of course, are kind of determined on a long-term basis. Most people, when they rent something, obviously they're paying rent based upon a lease. That lease typically runs for a year. So if you started paying a higher rent a year ago, you're still paying that higher rent. And that's how the Fed is calculating it. The problem is that the market might be going down, but that might not be reflected in the Fed's figures yet. Well, as it turns out, we have another way of calculating how rents are doing, and those are by looking at private entities, organizations like Zillow, for example, or realtors. They will calculate what the current market rent is. And as it turns out, the current market rent is actually going down quite substantially. In fact, there have been a number of calculations that have shown that if the Fed were using the current market rate for rent, as opposed to essentially the rolling average of rent that they use that takes into account leases that were signed over the past year, then actually we would already be down to 2% inflation, which is what the target is for the Fed. So that appears to be some good news that we're making progress with inflation. There are also other indications that we're making progress with inflation. The amounts that people are paying over sticker price for new vehicles has actually gone down quite substantially. As you know, that was really affected by the supply chain shortages that we had earlier after the pandemic. And as a result of that, people were paying quite a bit over sticker price for new vehicles. And since that's gone down, then that's also provided some relief then to the used car market, because of course, if people can't afford to buy new cars, then they go to the used car market. And what we've seen, and this is really kind of a good indication of the fact that the supply chain has loosened up quite a bit, is the cost of shipping one of those big containers that you've seen on TV from China to the United States has declined by 90%, 90% over the past year. So we're seeing some real loosening up of the supply chain, and that thing that kind of caused a lot of the inflation early on has really loosened up. Part of the issue, though, is that people are switching their spending from goods to services. And this kind of is the mirror image of what we saw as we went into the pandemic, when people switched from spending on services, things like going to the restaurant or going to the gym, to things like goods, like buying groceries and buying Pelotons. We of course have all heard the story about Peloton. But now we're dealing with the mirror image of that. And as a result, actually, manufacturing has slowed down. Most retailers are actually dealing with high inventories right now, where they're trying to actually get rid of some of their inventory. They're dealing with a lot less purchasing than they dealt with in prior years as a result of the Christmas season. And they've actually not engaged in the level of hiring that they have in prior years. So you see where there's kind of this mixed bag here. It appears that there are these indications that inflation is slowing down. By the same token, though, one of the biggest drivers of inflation potentially are wage increases, especially when you're dealing with services, because services, a lot of that involves the interaction of one person with another. And so if those employers are paying more for their employees, then they have to charge their customers more for those services. Well, as it turns out, wages have gone up pretty dramatically, surprisingly so, based upon the last report. In fact, the increase was 5.1% over last year, which was really much higher than economists expected. Most economists were expecting somewhere in the threes. So you can see how much higher it was than what was expected. So that kind of runs counter to this narrative that the economy is slowing down, prices are starting to go down. There's still this incredibly high demand for employees that's allowing employees basically to drive up the cost of their labor. And that then ultimately then goes and impacts the people buying things. How this is all going to work out? Well, I mean, it still remains to be seen. The Fed chair has already indicated that this month we're probably only going to see a 0.5% increase in the interest rates. So that's slowing down the rate of increase that we've been seeing over the past 6-8 months or so. That's a good sign. We saw recently the Government Bank of Canada actually decrease the amount that they're increasing their interest rates. So that's a good sign, and kind of shows that there's this growing consensus among economists that maybe interest rates have gone up high enough. We need to see how this is going to affect the economy and let it play out a little bit. But by the same token, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, has been very clear about the fact that it's premature to declare victory, that until we see clear evidence that inflation will go down, we can still expect to see more raises. So, and we're still in kind of wait and see period that we've been in for so long. There are some good signs, but yet we're not out of the woods yet.
We're joined by Michael Greiner on today's edition of the Megacast, Assistant Professor of Management at Oakland University's School of Business Administration. You can find more information on Oakland University programs in their School of Business Administration and beyond at oakland.edu. That's oakland.edu for more information. And as we continue to see the impact of inflation on our economy, also having a major impact on economies across the world, and especially in developing nations, that's really impacting them on the forefront of debt. They're collecting more of it, and they're really looking like there's a looming crisis where a lot of these developing countries that have been accumulating this debt, especially in the last several months to a year or so that we've been dealing with this current economic crisis, could be heading toward some issues of potentially defaulting on some of those debts. Tell us about that and how that will seriously affect these countries that are already, in some cases, in really tough situations, but also how the stronger economies of the world may react in terms of trying to help these nations maintain basic services that could be significantly affected if they default on these loans.
Yeah, we actually saw an
Looks like we're having some technical issues with Michael Greiner. We'll hold up for just a moment here and try to see if we can get him back. As he mentioned, he is traveling. He is out and about, so some technical issues may take place here and there. But again, we're joined by Michael Greiner as we are each and every week for our Friday market talk on Megacast. Join us weekly from 10:25 a.m. until about 10:40, 10:45 on our Friday shows each and every week for an update on the economy and an extensive look into some of these issues that are affecting inflation and affecting other economic issues with our economy here in the U.S. and how that's affecting economies around the world and how that all circles right back here to the U.S. The assistant professor himself comes in each and every week and kind of broadens our horizons on this. Let's just take it from, okay, inflation's super high and we're having issues with this, that, or the other, and really expand further on it. So, Michael, going back to you about those countries that are experiencing a bit of a potentially looming debt crisis, how could that really significantly affect the lives of those in these developing countries, and how maybe will stronger economies of the world, such as the United States, potentially react to that and trying to help these countries maintain basic services if those debt crises come to blows?
Yeah, sorry about that. Seems like we have a little internet hiccup here on my end. The world, as we've talked about before, is really interconnected at this point. And most of the debt out there that is incurred by developing countries is denominated in dollars. And as we've talked about before, as a result of these increases in the interest rate, as well as the fact that the U.S. economy, generally speaking, although a lot of people don't seem to really be able to see it, is actually doing relatively well compared to most economies out there. As a result of that, the dollar is very strong. And what that means is that many of these economies suddenly have to be paying back these debts in a dollar that is worth a whole lot of their currency. It becomes more expensive for them essentially to pay back these debts. And a lot of these debts over the past 10 years or so, there's been a shift where more and more of this debt is taken on by these countries with, number one, private lenders, banks essentially, but also by China. China has been very aggressive in going out there and lending to developing countries and trying to essentially extend its economic power and really challenge the United States on that front. The problem for a lot of these countries, though, is where the United States has a history of essentially working with these countries to kind of, if not bail them out, at least try to restructure their debts in a way that they're able to pay them back over time. China is much less accommodating, viewing these debts as, if not a way for them to make money, essentially, than a way for them to really extend their strong power. And there are examples for where China has been able to go in and essentially had countries turn over ports to them as a result of the fact that these countries were unable to pay back debts that were due to China. As we all know, there was recently a meeting of the G20, the group of the 20 most developed economies in the world, and all of them, except for one country, agreed that there needs to be efforts to try to address this potential crisis in the third world. And the country that did not agree, of course, is China. So that kind of creates a difficult situation here where is the United States going to have to step in and kind of help some of these countries? We're in a world right now where Americans more and more don't want to be involved in some of these foreign expeditions. But yet again, we are interconnected. I mean, if, for example, the Middle East or Africa descends into chaos, then that's going to be something that's going to have a critical impact upon our strategic interests. And so as a result of that, the United States needs to be kind of looking around the world and looking for opportunities where we're able to help these countries restructure their debts in a way that they're able to manage them without them descending into total chaos like we saw happen in Sri Lanka recently.
And Michael, last question for you here. Just a few more minutes left today. In Russia, their economy continues to be significantly impacted by their invasion of Ukraine, and in particular, the Putin government is really working on tightening up the price of oil in their country to really focus it on supplying the war machine going toward Ukraine. How is that affecting their efforts in Ukraine, and B, overall affecting that economy, and where's Russia at? Because another major economy on the economic scale.
It is, for sure. And this is really one of the untold success stories, I think, for the United States over the past couple of years in terms of our assistance to Ukraine. You know, we've all heard about the billions that we've given of aid, of weapons, and, the HIMARS, everybody talks about that we've given to Ukraine. But one of the biggest impacts that we've had has been the sanctions that we've imposed upon the Russian economy. These sanctions have been really unprecedented historically, in part, for example, where the Russian government had billions of dollars essentially held in the Federal Reserve Bank. And in an unprecedented move, we said to the Russians, guess what? We're going to basically take away those funds from you. We're not going to let you use those funds. It was really quite a shock to the Russians when that happened. And as a result of that, they've really been struggling to keep their economy on a good footing. Well, the big advantage that they've had, of course, is that they're a major oil producer. And when oil prices were high, even though much of the world was shying away from buying oil from them, China and India were not. And they were buying oil from them, albeit at a discount, but still with oil prices at a relatively high level, they were still making enough money that they were able to support their war machine. Well, as it turns out, since the price of oil has dropped, suddenly the Russian economy is struggling. Now, that's on top of the fact that our sanctions have resulted in them not having access to kind of a lot of the high technology equipment that they need and the semiconductors that they need to be able to build the smarter weapons that are more common on today's battlefields. But also, it's just made it harder for them to be able to turn their economy into the war-producing machine that they want it to be. You know, Vladimir Putin has basically turned his whole government, despite his claims that, oh, this is not a war, this is just a special military operation, he's turned his whole government and focused it on trying to replace the losses that they've incurred on the battlefields in Ukraine. And they've tried to increase, for example, the production of tanks and that type of thing, but they're dealing with a large number of workers who have fled the country as a result of this war. Especially the workers who fled this country tend to be more well-educated. They tend to be younger. They're really the valuable employees that Russia needs to be able to run its economy well. And then on top of that, the United States and its allies just agreed on a price cap for oil sold by the Russians. The price cap is going to be at $60 a barrel. Now, right now, they're selling their oil for less than that. But if the price of oil goes up, we intend to use the fact that most of the oil is shipped using either insurance or shipping companies that are licensed here in the West. And what we're going to do is basically say that we're not going to transport any oil that is sold for more than that. Now, why $60 is a valuable number is because it's higher than the price that we believe it costs Russia to produce oil, which we believe is at about $40 a gallon. But it's less than the price that Russia needs to be able to balance its budget, which we believe is about $70 a gallon. So what it'll mean is Russia will continue to produce oil. They need to because they'll be making money on it, but they're not going to be making enough money to balance their budget and continue the war. So the hope is that these economic sanctions now will continue to kind of press down on the Russian economy and really encourage Russia to finally bring an end to this terrible war that's going on in Ukraine.
Michael, thanks for joining us and telling us more about all these different factors that are affecting our economy, as well as economies across the world, that this inflation crisis, the current economic situation that we're in, and that continues to vary in many different ways, both here in the U.S. having some significant effects, but really also really severely affecting countries in developing nations, as well as some of our rival countries like Russia as well. Thank you very much.
Great to be here. Thanks, Tyler.
Appreciate it. Michael Greiner from Oakland University. Our weekly market talks Fridays at 10:25 on the Megacast. You can find more information on programs at Oakland University's School of Business Administration and other departments at oakland.edu. We'll take a break on the Megacast. When we come back, we'll talk to one of over 320 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Great time of the year for you to consider some of these charities for your last minute giving in 2022. And of course, to brighten someone else's holiday season as well. That's coming up next. You are watching and listening to the Megacast.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Keefe. Learn more about our program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State and their original programming outside of the 1 hour a day, 5 days a week that they join us for our live shows, and maybe some other hours of the days and weeks throughout each and every week. On demand as well, and for replays at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find all of our full shows and each individual interview on demand as well. Joining us now on the Megacast is one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform at sharedetroit.org. Brent Mikulski is the president and CEO of STEP, joining us now on the Megacast. Brent, thanks for being with us. Good to have you on the program with us today. First off, if we can have you just tell us a little bit about the history and the mission of STEP. Brent, it would appear that you may be muted in our Zoom, which of course is how we originate our interviews here. So we'll take a moment here as we wait for Brent to take care of some of these technical issues here. Of course, in the meantime, you can go to sharedetroit.org, learn more about STEP and 323 other charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform at sharedetroit.org. And it's a great place to learn about them in a number of different ways. Not only can you search for specific charities and specific nonprofits, you can also find information on how you can get involved with them, ways to donate, ways to give their time and give your time to them, and more, including products that they may need to provide some of their services. So maybe they're a charity or nonprofit that provides clothes to those that cannot afford new clothes or don't have the ability to have warm clothing for the winter season. Maybe they don't have a home. It's possible that all these things could be issues that these people are facing, and maybe these organizations are saying, hey, we're going to give these people in need some of these products. You can search in their different categories for shopping products from their Amazon Smile wish lists and give those products to these organizations, who will then give them to people right here in your community this holiday season and beyond. ShareDetroit.org is the place to go for that. In my ear, did I hear that right, Master Control? Are we good to go with Brent? We are good to go with Brent. Okay, joining us now on the Megacast, we'll start again. Joining us now on the Megacast is one of over 320 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Brent Mikulski is the president and the CEO of STEP and joins us. Brent, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you on with us. First off, STEP is an acronym. So let's, as we define what you do for people here in our local area, first start by breaking that down for us. What does STEP mean?
So STEP is just short for Services to Enhance Potential, and we're a local nonprofit here in Wayne and Macomb counties. We were formed back in 1972, so we're celebrating our 50th anniversary throughout this past year. We were formed by a few parents who back in 1972 really felt there were some great things in store for those that they cared for, their sons or daughters, or they were caregiving for somebody. And they felt there was a number of things out there that those, their children and other children might benefit from. So they worked together and formed what is now STEP. And it's grown from just, a thought, a hope from a few parents to an 11 location program with 3 thrift stores, serving over 1,400 folks every year, with some significant challenges and other issues that get in the way of being included in the communities that they reside in. So we're just really happy about the growth that we've seen in the last 50 years, and obviously the impact that we've made in the communities that we serve.
And they really come down to 4 categories, as you said. It stands for services to enhance potential, but those categories of different services that you provide also kind of go into that STEP acronym: supported employment, transition services, engagement in the community, and programs. Why the focus in those 4 areas specifically, or how does that focus really help individuals on a significant level here in our local area?
Well, one of the things we stress on is just allowing folks to be more included into their communities. And the way we do that is a variety of the services that we offer, and all, while independent of each other, often are wrapped very closely together with each other. So we can talk to the individual about employment, as you mentioned, and those employment services can start at the age of 14 while somebody is in school. Not really thinking about, what their life will include in terms of working, but just exploring opportunities for individuals and what they may have an interest in. So our folks send teams out to local school districts, working with transition counselors in the schools, exposing individuals to what work might be out there. And then there's the later in life individuals that we serve as well, that maybe in their late 40s, 50s, and still exploring work for the first time. So we're working on programs to help engage and work with those individuals and support those individuals and get them ready for jobs, find them those jobs, and then support them in opportunities once they have that job secured. And then while we're talking about employment, that may include 20, 25 hours of somebody's week. We know that doesn't include somebody's entire week or entire community presence. So we talk about non-work experience. So we talk to individuals about building confidence and doing things independently or with social groups that they may not have done in the past or may have not been invited to participate in the past. So we work on developing skills and techniques to help promote that type of conversation. We do that through programs like our Progressive Art Studio, where we have over 100 artists that are working out of one of our 3 studios around Wayne County, building that confidence, working on art that they love to do every day and be able to ultimately and potentially make a living doing. But they're with their social group. They're learning and engaging with individuals who have similar interests. Our culinary training programs that help not only promote training for folks that are looking for a particular or work in a food industry, but also building those skills to be able to cook and prepare meals on their own. So building those independent skills so that when they move out of home with mom and dad, or maybe move into an apartment with a friend that they met that's supported through a provider of some sort, they know how to prepare a meal. They know why it's better to go and shop and purchase local produce versus driving through a drive-through and ordering by a number. There's a health benefit there. So those type of opportunities, those non-work opportunities, play just as an important role as some of the employment opportunities that we offer, either through, like I mentioned, the supported employment program for those young adults or older adults, and everywhere in between, or the work that we offer for those interns at one of our 3 thrift stores, where we're building skills in a retail environment that transfer to, non-retail. So if somebody's learning customer service, working with floor staff and customers and so on, those type of skills can be transferable to a number of other opportunities, work and non-work related. Just again, building confidence to be able, to talk to somebody. And we've realized that once you start building confidence in individuals, greater things can happen. The number of folks that we've served, initially, and we see how they're often closed and very deep and within their shell. It's partly because of the lack of some of the inclusion and invites they've received in the past. So once we start inviting them, including them in conversations and including them in community-based programming, their confidence level just grows. And then you're having conversations with folks that you haven't had in the past and doing some really, really great things. So it's really nice to see.
More information can be found on stepcentral.org, stepcentral.org for more information on these services and programs and more, as well as ways you can get involved and donate as well. We're joined by Brent Mikulski on the Megacast, the CEO and president of STEP on today's program. Brent, another minute or two with you before we'll have to say goodbye today. But so before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to tell us who these services are available to, and other ways people can get involved with STEP.
So our services are currently available to residents and their families who have an individual with a disability or have a disability in Wayne and Macomb counties. And we have a number of referral sources or partners in the community that can direct a loved one or someone that to our organization. If they have a case manager or some sort of caregiver, they can direct them right to us, and we can begin to work with them. If you don't, or you're not already engaged with somebody, you can call our 1-800 number or 833-525-1489 number, and then they can start the process there. And our team of support coordinators and intake specialists can help that conversation. So definitely, anybody involved, anybody interested in getting involved, please reach out to either through our website or through that contact number I mentioned. And then ways to get involved. I mentioned our thrift stores. We accept donations that help not only our organization, but the sales at the stores. It keeps unused items out of landfills. All of those things that I think have a number of good secondary and tertiary opportunities once you start donating. And we also partner with nonprofits in the area too to what we call double your difference. So we share in some of the proceeds on our sales at our thrift store throughout the month as well. We're always looking for volunteers to help do what we do. So again, through those same contact routes, if you have an interest in helping us do what we do, if it's through some of our classrooms, or again, help some of our staff do what they do great we're more than happy to help folks there too, or offer some opportunities for folks there too.
Brent, we appreciate you joining us, telling us more about these programs and all the other affiliated services with STEP in Wayne and Macomb County. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You as well. StepCentral.org is their direct website, or you can visit them and find more information on ShareDetroit.org, as well as info on 324 other charities and nonprofits this holiday season and all throughout 2023 and beyond. That will do it for today's edition of the Megacast. You'll find us back with new episodes very soon.